Hi, I'm Sam, your resident fantasy reader,
And I'm Morgan, your romance reader, and we welcome you to Just One More Page.
where it's never just one more page.
Happy birthday to Sam.
Oh,
Happy
Lordy.
birthday to Sam. Happy birthday. Woo, woo, woo. You know, my niece has like a cool thing that she does when she sings happy birthday, but I don't remember what it is. I think it's like some like little add-on that she does every year that I'm like, I'm going to remember to do that for other people. And then I completely forget. But happy birthday, Sam.
Is it like, you look like a monkey and you smell like one too?
You know what? That is another one I know, but it's like she does a little dance. She does like a little shimmy. I have to ask her what it is, and then I'll call you back and say it to you again. But happy birthday, Sam.
Thank you.
Woo! Listen, I was actually looking back at some photos that I found of us in high school. I think we're in like freshman year, I think. And I think it's so crazy that we're so old now. Like it feels like just yesterday we were walking home from school together or riding our bikes together or having sleepovers together, and now we're in our 30s.
I know, this is like the short period of time, like between now and July, where Morgan and I are actually the exact same age.
And then I'm gonna be 35. Ugh. I mean, great. It's great.
Welcome to your mid-30s. I feel like 34 is like the start of your mid-30s, to be honest. Like if you like break it up, 34 is basically the start of your mid-30s. It's fine. You know what? We have our careers, we have our families, we have so much to be grateful for, and it's like, okay, yeah, we're in our mid-30s, but like look how much we've accomplished, and we still have so many more years ahead of us. Realistically, like people now live to be so old, like in their 80s and 90s, and we still got so much life left to live. And I feel more confident and more comfortable in my 30s than I ever did in my 20s.
Yeah. In your 30s, like, it's just, you just stop caring, I feel like.
Yeah, but like in the best way possible. It's like, you know, we were like, hey, we're going to start a book podcast. If you like it, awesome. If you don't, it's fine. Like it ain't for you. And that's okay. Like I've just embraced my nerdiness and have now, like, we're starting to find like our fellow nerdy crew in our 30s because we've let our freak flag fly, and it's amazing. So
let your freak flag fly, okay? Put it out in front of your car.
Yeah.
We do not care. How's your week been going? I feel like this week has been crazy for us.
My week has been you and I doing a ton of podcast stuff. We've got a lot accomplished, and then we just picked up a new arc, and like just a lot of really good things have happened this week. A very long week, very stressful week. We busted out 3 books in like a shorter amount of time than we ever have before. So like I'm so proud of us.
Yeah, I know. I'm so proud of us too. My brain hurts though.
My brain does hurt too. And I just bought like a brain rot book, as I like to call them, like a book I know is not going to take me a whole bunch of brain power to read, and I'm going to read it through the weekend for my birthday weekend, and I'm so excited.
What book did you buy?
I bought Deep End by Allie Hazelwood.
Okay, I keep seeing that advertised to me. I don't know. I feel like we read 2 Allie Hazelwood books, and both times I was left disappointed.
So this one isn't STEM related, or at least it doesn't seem like it's like fully focused on STEM. And she says that, like, it's her favorite book she's ever written, and everyone is saying it's so good.
I feel like the other 2 books we read felt like the same book written with different characters, but same characters.
Yeah, so this one has to do with swimmers, I think.
Okay.
Or one of them's a swimmer. It's not the like Kylo Ren fanfic, rinse and repeat. It seems like a different story. So I'm really excited to read it. I tried not to completely like write off authors, but I mean, granted, we read 2 of her books and they were pretty identical to each other. But this one, everyone is like ranting and raving about and saying it's fabulous and it's one of her better books. And so I'm like, I will give you one more try. The cover looks really cool. I bought it on my Kindle, but like the sprayed edges I've seen look really pretty in person. It looks like water. I'm gonna have fun with it, I hope. And yeah,
I love that you're going to be able to read this weekend and just relax on your birthday. You know what? Let's get into the book that we read this week. That was also pretty exciting, I would say.
It was interesting.
It was very interesting. So today we read a young adult novel, which was a mystery thriller called Needy Little Things, which is by Channelle Desamours, which is her debut novel. This novel follows Sariyah Lee Bryant, who can hear what people want the most, such as a pencil, a hair tie, or even a phone charger. Only her family, her best friend, knows about her special gift. Sariyah can't help but wonder if her ability is a curse more than a gift, except she's determined to make sure that Deja isn't just another missing Black girl. Not trusting the police and media to do enough, she and her friends tried to figure out what led to Deja's disappearance. Except when her mother loses her job and her brother faces complications with his sickle cell disease, Managing her time and money and emotions seems impossible. Desperate for money, she decides to hustle her need sensing abilities, which leads her into the same danger that Deja found herself in. I do want to add some trigger warnings to this book as it does deal with kidnapping, violence, drugs, death, chronic illness, racism, depression, and injuries. And I think I kind of got them all, but I do apologize if I missed any. But Sam, what did you think about this book?
I really did enjoy it. I think I rated like 4.3,
Okay,
4.4.
okay.
When we picked it, I don't know what I was expecting because I was like, this is a very strange concept of like this person just like giving people what they need. But I feel like it was done very, very well. The whole book serves a purpose. If you haven't read this book yet, pay attention to everything that's going on because everything that happens serves a purpose later on in the book. And I feel like it was a very kind of like nifty puzzle to put together. Some things were a little like, I mean, you could guess it's a YA novel, so you could guess kind of how it was going to end. But some of it, I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. The twist, I didn't see that coming.
I didn't see it either.
I did not see it coming. It takes a lot for us to not see something coming. So overall, really enjoyed this book. It was a really, really fun read. I love kind of like Sariyah's family dynamics and everything. That was not really fun to read, but very interesting to read.
Yeah.
And then how her superpower, supernatural power, her like ability to like sense people's needs and everything, even though it sounds weird, it actually works very, very well. And so I really enjoyed this book.
I agree. I think that the writer did a fantastic job with writing about her knowing other people's needs because I was wondering if it was going to be more so of her being like looking at them, be like, oh, you want this. In the novel, I don't think this is too much of a spoiler. She gets like migraines or headaches when she doesn't give people what they need, or most of the time it's just like she looks at them and she goes, okay, you need like a toothbrush, toothbrush, toothbrush. But I felt like this book was very, very well written. I think that the writer did a great job of intertwining her gift, the mystery of her friend. And not only was the novel like really fast moving, but I think it brought many real points what missing girls, especially missing girls of color, go through. And you can't help but feel angry for Sariyah and her frustrations with how Tess, which was her other friend, and how Deja's case went. I mean, I was on Netflix yesterday after reading this book and I saw the Gabby Petito documentary.
I've heard about it.
I didn't watch it because I'm not really a fan of true crime. I will admit, not if that's something that you love, great. But for me personally, I'm not really into it. Just like reading this book and understanding the frustrations that like POC women, girls, men, whoever go through when they go missing, and then seeing that docuseries, you can't help but feel like, damn, the system's really written against y'all. Like, and I looked it up and it says that currently 40% of people are missing
Oh, wow.
that are of color, and that most people who go missing who are young girls or young boys, when they go missing, they are written off as runaways, which is so sad. But I can understand the writer's frustration and also the character's frustrations when their friend goes missing and they feel like not enough is done. I think that reading this novel kind of gave me a lasting impression. And I think that this is like a really, really great novel to read if you want to see a different side, or just like for teenagers to read to have more empathy for other people and stuff like that. So I think this is such a good read. I also do agree with a twist. I did not see it coming. I was like, wait, what? What? I was actually shocked.
I had to like, because I was doing it as an audiobook. I had to rewind. I was like, did I hear what I did? No.
Yes.
You're kidding right now. Like, what?
And I think we're pretty good at kind of figuring out the ending of things, right? Like, I would say so.
We'll talk more about it like in the spoiler section, but like I literally got to that point in the book where like not really the big twist, but like one of the twists into the big twist came in, and I was like, what? Did not see it coming. I was along for the ride and I was like, no.
I was just shocked when I saw the twist. But we're going to go into our spoiler free section unless Sam has anything else you want to add.
Like, if you haven't read this book, it's excellent. I would 100% recommend. Again, like I said 4.3, 4.4, maybe 4.5. I don't know. It's a low 4 for me, but I mean, it was still an excellent read. I 100% recommend.
Yeah, I do too. If you haven't read Needy Little Things and you don't want to be spoiled, then you should go check out that book, but also go check out last week's episode in which we released our Valentine's Day episode. If you have already read this book, then stay tuned. Or wait, have you read this book? Because I'm totally not judging you if you haven't read this book and you're listening to the spoiler section. Wink, 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 I am. But anyways, let's go into our spoiler section. Okay, Sam, you want to talk about the twists first?
All right. So, okay. First of all, I want to strangle
Oh my
Malcolm
God, yes.
and the stupidity of, hey, let's go to a concert and we're going to stage your disappearance and make you go down to her father or Sariyah's father's like rental property and like disappear for a few days. And I am with Sariyah with like, what was the story when she came back?
Exactly.
What was the story going to be when she came back?
So, if you haven't read the book, basically Malcolm's sister Tess goes missing years ago, and he feels like the police, he feels like the media, he feels some sort of vendetta against the media and people for not caring that his sister went missing. So, they decided to do a school project where Deja would go missing, like you said, say at Shariah's father's house, which by the way, I'm just gonna say in the beginning, when she was trying to tell Malcolm, like, I really don't think we should go, like, I'm giving her, like, Deja pepper spray. And Malcolm's like, girl, stop freaking out. It's fine. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, in the beginning of that book, I was so annoyed. And then you find out later on, she knew the whole time that she was freaking out over missing her friend and literally doing whatever she could to like figure out what happened to her friend and blaming herself for not doing enough. He knew that she was safe.
Yeah, because when they pulled the body out of the lake and he's like, it's not her. And it's like, at that point, you should come clean and be like, I know where she is. Like, why are you putting her through the stress? Why are you putting her family? I get her mom's not the greatest. Deja's mom's not the greatest person in the entire world, but you still made her child disappear.
By the way, do you think that Deja's mother knew? Because there was a press thing where yeah, crocodile's ears.
The crocodile tears.
Yeah.
Well, they brought it up twice. They brought up the crocodile tears, like her brother had made a comment about her on the TV. But then later on, they also saw her too, and like they were like, "Oh, maybe this is just how she is." I don't know. I feel like, and this is why I didn't give it like a full 5-star rating, is because there's certain plot points in this book where I feel like the ball got dropped on it. Like the nurse person, like he's kind of around and he's kind of a suspect for like half a second, and then like he kind of just disappears off the page, and you don't really ever hear from him again.
Yes.
I feel like Deja's mom missed her, but also missed what Deja offered her in the way of like money and stuff. And so I do feel like she was sad. I don't think she was like mother sad. I think she was just like addict sad.
Yes, I agree completely. The other twist I didn't see coming, Deja actually had a boyfriend. It was nice that there was a scene where she saw a girl that reminded her of Deja at the zoo. And I couldn't help but think, I'm like, maybe her mom has like another daughter that she doesn't know about or whatever. Or maybe that's just, I don't know, Deja's sister or cousin, whatever. And then you find out that no, that's actually Fritz's ex-girlfriend who looks just like her friend for some reason. And so Fritz decides that he's gonna kidnap her, which, okay, buddy, you do that. Kidnap her, keep her in the crawl space, which is like, what the hell, of her father's spare house. By the way, back it up real quick. Malcolm's so selfish, the fact that he was gonna get Sariyah's father in trouble, because if they found out that he was hiding, whether or not he knew or not that she was on the property, he would be in so much trouble. And Malcolm didn't even think about that because he's selfish and rude and not a good friend.
Also, when Deja went like radio silent, he had no intention of going down there to find her. And then when Sariyah was going down, he didn't even go with her. Like, I get that she was like low key, like mad at him about what was happening. He was like, oh yeah, like I haven't heard from her in like 2 days, and she's supposed to be here and she's supposed to be back, and you could go down to wherever it was like Sheffield or something like that, and go find her and have fun, but I'm gonna stick back here. Good luck. I'm like, Malcolm, you deserve to be punched in the face, man.
I agree. So she goes there, right? And she ends up seeing her in the crawl space, and she realized that Fritz has basically decided that he's going to kidnap her and that he's going to blame his best friend who caused the breakup between him and his ex-girlfriend for the reason why, I don't know why he's kidnapping her. I did not think it was going to be Fritz being the one kidnapping. Like, was that a good twist for you in your opinion?
The final story, what was happening, yeah, I felt like that was a good twist. I honestly thought like the grifter man like kidnapped her, because he made that weird comment about like, this isn't worth it or whatever, because I guess he was like trying to lure her or something, I don't know, because you're staring at every single person all the time, and you kind of forget that Fritz even is a person in this book until you get to the end and you're like, oh yeah, you exist, like I forgot about you. So that made it a really good twist too, because it was kind of like it should have flicked a red flag saying like, hey, why is this like random character friend being mentioned, but it never really did. Like no alarm bells really went off for him.
Yeah. And I also think that his need was a ring that she did give him, and it actually led to his death.
Yeah, maybe his need was her need.
Yes, which I find it so interesting that some of the things that she was giving to people weren't necessarily like she gave Philly a air horn in case he fell, Jules, and he gave her the metal comb and put Jules in it. And she used that to help escape. Which, by the way, what did you think about the whole plot line with Danny and Philly? Danny being the one who got stabbed in the beginning of the story.
That was different, and I guess it made sense like toward the end why that was put in there, but I'm like, what purpose does this serve, literally?
I couldn't help but wonder when I read it. I was like, "Wait, who's getting stabbed with a nail file? What is happening
I
here?"
know, because it was so random. I was like, what? The other purpose it served too was that she fulfills these needs without knowing if they're good or bad, and it doesn't really fully see the outcome. And she mentions it toward the end of the book too, is like all of the needs that I fulfill like have a ripple effect of like what's going to happen on later on, which I mean, it's true for everything, like of the choices that we make and stuff. But I'm just like, why do we care about someone getting stabbed with a nail file? Like, granted, I know she gave it to her, but like, what's the purpose of this? And then we got to the end and I was like, oh, that makes sense.
I mean, like, even the whole thing of her giving Jude's aunt, Naomi, the card that was her mother's old workplace card. Her mother got fired, his aunt got hired. I mean, obviously in the book, she was so like, I told you this is why I don't do things for friends and I don't give people's like needs to them that I'm close with. That whole fight with Jude, do you think that she wasn't right for that fight, or do you think she was just like overwhelmed and over it?
I think she was very overwhelmed and kind of over it.
I think so too. I think that she was trying to hold everything together with her friend being missing, or not really missing, with her brother being sick, and her basically being a second mother to her brother, and her mom's depression. Do you think her mom's depression gave like the story another level of realism?
It served its purpose in her having to go griff. Also, it kind of like reminds us that our parents are human too. I feel like not now, because as being a parent myself, but like when you're a little kid, like your parents are your superheroes and they can do anything, and mom and dad never get sick and they're always there and they tuck us in and it's great. The reality of her parents had to not necessarily separate themselves, but live separately to protect her, and then her mom's basically the sole breadwinner to keep them up where they are in, I believe they're in Atlanta. I mean, depression's a real, I mean, I suffer from depression. It's a real thing, and it really does sometimes come out of nowhere with no trigger whatsoever. The conversation I appreciated in this book was that the mom didn't like negate her depression and how it affected her children, because she was like, if you hate me, it's okay. And she was like, mama, I don't hate you. And she's like, I know, but when you do hate me, it's okay. To recognize that, like, yeah, she has depression, she could also recognize that it affects her children, but that her children have a right to be upset because she is the mother. And sometimes it's hard to separate our own personal feelings to the strong person we're supposed to be to our child. And so I really appreciated that she didn't just be like, well, you know, I have depression and it's just something I go through and you should deal with it. It's like, no, you can be mad at me about this because you have every right to be mad at me about it. And I really appreciated that conversation.
I think it added another level of depth to her and also to her family, and kind of like what she is going through, and kind of like why she feels like sometimes her gift is a burden, which is a question I'm going to ask you. Do you think that her gift was a burden, or do you think it's actually like in some ways a good gift?
I feel like the burden came in the fact that like it affected her school life, it affected her grades, it affected her ability to go do things. So I do feel like it was a burden. Her friends wanted to go to this concert and she had to think about the fact that she was going to be bombarded by people's needs and carrying, I love that she called it her Santa bag, but she had to carry her Santa bag everywhere and fulfill these needs so she wouldn't get these migraines. She was concerned about graduating, had to get someone to make special exceptions to her for her gift. But at the same time, like, think about people who deal with overstimulation, ADHD, autism, and the fact that they have to like follow this world of So we could say neurospicy and neurotypical. Like the world is built for neurotypical people, and the neurospicy have to learn how to navigate it. And so I feel like it could kind of be an allegory for being a little neurospicy and having to navigate the world with your neurospiciness and trying to like figure out how to be a functional member of society, even though sometimes society doesn't help you function in it normally. I guess if that makes sense.
I honestly, when I was reading her about wearing her headphones and having to have the Santa bag and just like trying to plan everything around her gift, it reminded me a lot of autism, because a lot of people who have autism, and I guess also ADHD, they deal with overstimulation. And so her being like that, it made me wonder if maybe her gift isn't necessarily a gift, or if it's maybe like OCD, or if it's actually something magical. No, it's never really explained if it is.
It's never truly explained, and like I feel like I mean her gift is a gift because she's giving people what they need even if they don't know what they need at the time. But I also feel like it's a really good allegory at the same time. Like I feel like it's magical realism in this world, but I think it also serves as a comment on like people who have to navigate the world that's a little overstimulating and just have to kind of like figure it out. And you know, the 21st century now with the internet and everything, there's ways to find your coping mechanisms, but like for a long time, especially when we were kids, like there was no way to like truly understand how to cope and when to cope and how to make adjustments. And I feel like the world's a little more, I guess, navigatable. We're getting ready to go to this big aquarium tomorrow out in South Carolina, and like they have like sensory times where everything's like kind of dimmed down, the noise is kind of dimmed down a little bit, so children who do have overstimulation and like don't process like sound and lights as well as neurotypical children still can go and enjoy these things that most people do. And like so I feel like the world is kind of becoming more malleable to that. At the same time, like a lot of people have to kind of find coping mechanisms to function in the world as normal as they can. And I use normal in giant air quotes.
Yes, I think the world is changing and evolving, and hopefully it stays that way. I hope it does. So, the end of the novel, we get a scene where she is dreaming about Tess, and Tess is Malcolm's twin sister who went missing years ago, who was never found. And in the dream, she knows that this is going to be the last time she sees Tess. And Tess tells her, go check marker. Like, I forgot what marker was. Like, let's just say marker 27. And I was like, I legit got chills, like, of
I
basically
know.
Tess telling her, come find me. I don't know about you. How did you feel about that ending?
I was like, oh, is she gonna go find the body? Is the body even gonna be there? Like it's been years.
But yeah, full body chills.
I was like, she finally talked back to her because, like, everything's always been like a recreation of the memories that she's had of her, like, how she responded in those times. And so, like, when it was like something new, I was like, oh my God, what's happening right now?
Hopefully she does give some closure to Malcolm and to his family. But anything else you want to add about this book, or anything else you want to talk
No,
about?
excellent book. Very well written, very well done. I know it was YA, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I feel like it should get way more hype than it's getting right now.
Yes, I agree. I think it was a great read. I don't know if I mentioned why I rated it. I rated it like a 5 stars. I really, really loved it. I honestly went through it so fast because I enjoyed it so much. I was like one of the books that I was going to take a little bit easier because we had a couple more days to read it. And I'm not going to lie, I read it in like 2 days because I was obsessed with it, not because I had to read it in 2 days. The week that I didn't have to read a book in like 3 days. I read it in 2 days. I don't know the logic behind that. But anyways, next week, we're going to be reading our second novel from Gillian McAllister called Famous Last Words. This novel follows a new mother, Camilla, whose life is about to change forever. After months of maternity leave, she has plans of dropping her daughter off at daycare for the first time and returning back to her job as a literature agent. Except when she wakes up in the morning, she finds that her husband isn't there. Instead, there is a cryptic note. Then it starts a hostage situation, and the police are telling her that her husband isn't even a hostage, but the gunman. Her husband, the doting father, the eternal optimist, is the one holding the gun. Dun dun dun. So we read a book from her before, which was called, what was it called, Sam? I can't remember. It was like time travel-y one.
Yeah, it was
It was, oh my goodness, we have bad memory.
oh my God, no, no, because I have a screenshot. I have a screenshot. It's wrong place, wrong time.
Yes, we read that one.
It was a book I picked as it was on my TBR. Like, we still do it kind of. Like, we just like pick a book off of one of our TBRs. And I was like, this book's been staring me in the face forever. It was so good and it wasn't what I was expecting. And so that's why I'm like really excited about this one, because I know what the summary says, but this author has a way of taking the summary and turning it on its head and giving you a whole different story, but like in the best way. And I'm so excited.
I'm excited to read it. But anyways, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, feel free to rate us on Spotify because it really does help push our podcast out there. We do appreciate it. Also, remember to check us out anywhere else you can find a podcast. And why not subscribe to our YouTube channel? Why not? Why not do it? Anyway, Sam will tell you about the rest of our socials.
Okay, so if you think we're absolutely hilarious, which fun fact, my friends, we are. We do have a TikTok. It is Just One More Page Podcast. For all the pictures, stories, and anything else we decide to post, we do have an Instagram. It is Just One More Page Official. And you can also find us on Tome and Blue Sky as Just One More Page Podcast. So come and follow us. We love talking to you all. I'm going to go celebrate my birthday now.
Woo!
And we hope you all have a fabulous Sunday, and we will talk to you all soon.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah.
Happy
All
birthday,
right.
Sam.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.